Welcome to Till All Are Done, the show where we're showcasing one toy for every character in the Transformers universe. We're cruising down the road of the G1 cartoon highway, and if you want to watch every episode from the very beginning, check out the playlist in the description or click the card in the corner. But the best way to stay tuned for new episodes is to subscribe and see which figures I'm going to showcase next. We covered one Countach, and now we're going to cover the other. While Sideswipe is based off of the 1982 Lamborghini Countach LP500S, I appreciate that Sunstreaker is just not a simple repaint, and he's based off the older model of the same car, a 1974 version. Their designs are really different too. Like, for example, while the hood of Sideswipe ends up on the chest, it ends up on Sun's feet instead when he transforms. It's not like Prowl and Blue Streak where it's mostly a repaint. These two Countaches are very different and I love both characters. However, I feel like Sunstreaker has kinda been underrepresented over the years when compared to his red counterpart. Even for the toy I was going to originally cover in this episode, it's based off of concept art. I haven't watched every piece of Transformers media, but I feel like he's due to get some shine. The aforementioned studio series Bumblebee movie Sunstreaker is super awesome and a great toy, but then I got this other Sunstreaker toy in my hand shortly after I got my Sideswipe. And then my mind was completely made up. We have to talk about this toy for this episode, and really, this toy represents the version of the character that fans remember and hold so dearly.
The Transformers!
Hello, War for Cybertron Earthrise Sunstreaker, looking beautiful and sleek as hell. This time we're going to start in the alt mode and just take in how good this toy is. Another Countach masterpiece without being a masterpiece toy, really. That's the crazy thing about the toys from the War for Cybertron era and even studio series. A lot of them feel like they're getting masterpiece looking toys, but obviously scaled down to a lower budget. My point is, you don't have to spend 3 digits to get a good looking G1 cartoon accurate Sunstreaker. You can get it with this Earthrise version or the 5-pack version. There will be a Studio Series 86 version if I have to take a guess. Plus, you have the other decos of the mold with the Diaclone toy colors and whatnot. Maybe there's not as many options as Sideswipe, but they still repainted this mold quite a bit. The look of this approximation Countach is incredible and close enough to not get sued or pay some money to the piper. I personally don't like my toys to be real world car models anyway, so this is perfect. Lots of sculpted details go into this alt mode, with the designers paying extra attention to all the air vents and aerodynamics you would normally see on a Countach. I love the way they integrate the weapon onto the toy with the engine block that doubles as a gun for the robot mode. Now, a small, very small missed opportunity is that I wish the engine block split into 2 pieces like how it is on the concept art toy from the Studio Series Bumblebee movie, and that would be cool. Maybe they can do it with the SS86 version. Another thing I wish they would do for the SS86, if it ends up releasing, is add a spoiler. This version of the toy looks fine without it, but I can't help thinking the designers wanted to put one on because the 2 portholes on the back bumper would suggest that one would go there. It would be a perfect spot to have a spoiler and call back more to the original design. Some might cry parts forming, but just turn it into a sword or something, and those people will stop whining quick. Another thing people whine about that always puts me in the vast minority is transparent plastic. This Earthrise Sunstreaker definitely has it with this beautiful shade of blue that contrasts so boldly with the yellow. It looks incredible, and I think that's something detractors can't deny. The unfortunate downside to this is that in order to have the roof yellow, they had to paint over the blue transparent plastic, and the color matching is a bit off. You can tell if you look hard enough, but I really don't know how much better a job they could have done here. They couldn't do it perfectly on the SSBB Sunstreaker either. I don't know what to say here, folks. Track down the Autobot Stand 5-pack version if you want, but then you trade the sharp blue for a powder blue cartoon inspired look. It's not a look I'm looking for in my toys, but you won't have the transparent plastic issues to worry about like color matching, I guess. There's aspects of the toy I've negatively picked out for sure, but that's not really a true indication of how I feel about it. I really love this alt mode dearly. It's awesome. Nitpicks be damn. Before we transform this bad boy, I'll end off on a positive, which is the wheels. Yeah, they're pegged on, whatever. Pinned better, yep. But when you look at this stellar thing, I don't care. And the toy rolls completely fine on my copy. Such a sharp rim design which makes these wheels pop. The wheels are the cherry on top of an already amazing cake, but it gets even better as we continue along in this review. But this alt mode is incredible. Let me stress that in case you don't think I think that way. This thing is amazing, just as amazing as the Sideswipe one. Getting this Countach into robot mode is such a joy. They do such a good job packing everything into the alt mode and making sure there's no kibble in sight. Unless you look at the bottom, of course. The trick with this transformation though is that you have to do the steps in a certain order. Unhook the arms, then the chest plate, and then the legs. At that point you're safe from breakage and scratching your toy and can proceed. Obviously do it in reverse when you're going into the Countach from robot mode, but the order here is more important than usual. There's one part of the transformation that I find absolutely brilliant, and simultaneously it triggers my OCD like no tomorrow. It's to do with the front bumper, which becomes the feet in robot mode. I guess they couldn't figure out how to make it work with the way it transforms, so if you flip it upside down, oh look! It's exactly the same on the bottom too. Neat trick they implemented so that they can make the feet work without ever overcomplicating it. However, I see it, Hasbro. You cannot slip one past the goalie. I'm too eagle-eyed for you. The lights are slightly different on both sides. Busted. So when you fold the feet for the transformation, they're not exactly identical and it breaks the illusion. I'm pretty sure I'm the only crazy person who is bothered by this. Or at least I hope I'm the only crazy person. But in all seriousness, the feet are engineered very nicely, as well as the legs, which have the thighs collapsing out of the car body. The arms collapse to form the back bumper, and that's very clever. Normally you'll have visible joints left over or hands in the worst case scenario, but the way they work the arms into the alt mode, perfect. The only criticism I have is if the legs are not positioned properly, the tabs under the roof panel won't tab in all the way, and then you won't be able to push the top in flush with the back section. Definitely slightly annoying to see a breakup on the window. Some people are going to have a problem with the blue transparent plastic, but I don't have an issue with it at all with the transformation. Go get the 5-pack version, I already told you about it. But yeah, splay the limbs into their correct positions, and we have ourselves a robot mode for the ages. My god, does this Sunstreaker look so good in robot mode. I haven't been able to choose one which I like better between this and alt mode because they're both so damn impressive. Head sculpt is on point. It doesn't get more G1 accurate than that. Because everything is nicely detailed, especially on the shoulders. Sunstreaker looks super sharp. They have this interesting piece on top that is not used for anything else other than to show up in the robot mode. It's got a hexagon shaped port, so I wonder if maybe it's meant for something like a weaponizer toy or something else in the toy line, but I'm not really sure. I'm not completely knowledgeable of it. All I know is that I like what it adds to the shoulders in terms of the look. The shins have this weird design on them that is almost unnecessary, but I'm glad it's here. It looks like pistons and other stuff you'd see at the bottom of a car. They aren't visible in alt mode, but I like the design they give for the robot legs. But they are a bit see-through and don't help to hide the toy's only true thing that's a problem, which is the amount of hollowness there is in the legs. Now I completely understand why they're like that. It's where the legs come from. However, there's a pretty big gap on the inner thighs that looks unappealing. So with the combination of these things, the inner profile of the legs just look pretty empty and it kinda sucks. I don't know how tangential this is, but they slashed the budget for the Earthrise line, and while it may not seem like Sunstreaker was overly affected, the hollowness in some parts of the limbs is a result of that budget tightening. But again, it's not heavy here, and there are some Earthrise and Kingdom toys that got it much worse. We might be covering one of them down the road, maybe even sooner than later. Anyways, the engine intake is his weapon and he can hold it in his fists. Port on the forearms gets stored on the back via a porthole, or if you want you can station it on either side of the calves, which have portholes. I still wish the weapon split in two, but it is what it is. It's strange. There are cool things about this toy that appear and disappear when you transform it. Those calf ports are hidden under the windshield when the toy is in Countach mode. Speaking of the windshield, this is what presence looks like. Aside from the color mismatching, which I don't think is that bad, I love how this chest looks. This is why I advocate for transparent plastic, because despite clear downsides, I'm recognizing there are downsides. When it looks good, it looks good. This robot mode from head to toe is a blast, and it's clearly one of the best looking Sunstreaker toys we have ever gotten. The SSBB being another one, and the missing link toy is going to fill that nostalgia G1 niche just right, though you'll probably have to import it. Alrighty, all we have left to do is cover Sunstreaker's articulation, and considering which toy line it's coming from, you know we have some good things to share. Head is on a raised ball joint, so you get 360 rotation and lots of head nod and tilt in all directions. Plus you have the transformation joint that will allow the head to really tilt forward. The double jointed shoulder assembly for this toy is fantastic, with a joint pinned to the body and another one pinned to the arm. I wish this is how it worked for Legacy Prime Cliff Jumper, which we reviewed not too long ago. If you position the shoulder joints all the way up, you can get the arms right above the head, or you can have them perpendicular to the body. Do take care when positioning the arms though, but you can get him in some arm stretching and yoga poses easily with these shoulder joints. I love the Siege Sideswipe, but lament how limited the articulation can be for him. You can also position the shoulder joints down to lower the shoulders, and that's what you end up doing for the transformation. The arms have a swivel designed in the middle of those two hinges, and they allow 360-degree rotation, plus you have 90-degree elbows. The wrists don't swivel, but they do rotate inwards. Then you have full 360 waist rotation, pin joints on the legs that allow them to shoot outwards 90 degrees in all directions. You have 90-degree knees and 360 thigh swivels as well. Really solid posing. Lastly, you have the feet, which in spite of how they transform, still give you 90 degrees inward pivot. Heck, you can do some cheating if you unpeg the thighs from the legs, and you can use it to your advantage. It makes the legs look more chunky, and you can get nice wide leg squat poses and some weird things going on. And then, as we showed in the transformation section, you have a crap ton of toe articulation to get these feet into almost any position you like. Articulation for this is so great, and this standard of excellence was pioneered here by the designers of the War for Cybertron line. I'm like a kid discovering Transformers again every time I review another toy from this trilogy. This Earthrise Sunstreaker toy is divine. This thing is awesome, yes, quirky in some aspects, but still awesome. And well, I just gave out a 5 last episode, and I'm not trying to be the IGN of Transformers toy reviews. 7.8 out of 10, too much kibble. But come on. Like, come on. I'm not going to be handing these 5s out like candy, like I have some integrity, but this Sunstreaker toy is a 5 out of 5, right? This thing doesn't get any better until you start spending more money for more moving parts. This toy is a mini masterpiece that rides high with the other 2 5s I gave, funny enough, from the same toy line. I know I complained about gaps, things not tabbing in properly, and a few other things, but I feel like these are small offenses that really don't take away from the experience of having and playing with this toy. I still can't believe the quality on display here that theoretically could get better with more paint apps. But as far as the mold goes, this thing sits beside his Countach brethren side by side, and we can see why Hashtag wants to repaint it so much. Maybe one day I'll review that SSBB concept art Sunstreaker just to get my thoughts on the record. It's a great toy that I would have gladly showcased to the world, but I felt a spark when I bought this toy and got to spend time with it, and that's the stuff we Transformers fans live for. Those are the experiences and highs we collectors are constantly chasing. Another Autobot rolling out here, and we will keep going to our next one. The next Autobot we'll cover is even from the same toy line as Sunstreaker. Be sure to check back with the channel to see who it is, and let me know which Countach is your favorite. Sunstreaker? Sideswipe? Red Alert? Or maybe there's another one I'm not thinking of. But anyways, thanks for stopping by the JR Magnus channel, and peace out.